So I want to introduce Rachel Ngom. She's going to tell you how to get leads, a bunch of leads, continual source of leads for free through Pinterest. So let's put our hands together, please.
How's it going? Hi. Is anyone using Pinterest for their business yet? Raise your hand. Oh, a few of you are. Okay. For those of you who aren't, do you want to learn how to get free leads? Yes? Okay, cool. Then let's talk about that. So I'm Rachel, and I live in France. I'm a wife to my husband, Alphonse, for the past 8 years, and we have an almost 6-year-old son who is named TJ. And when I'm not running my full-time business, I'm typically drinking wine, eating cheese, and watching Friends reruns. So it's perfect that we live in France, right? Does anyone still watch Friends? Yeah? Okay, amazing. You're my people. I love it. So I want to kind of give you an overview of the Pinterest funnel and what we're going to be talking about. So Pinterest is going to be at the top, and we're going to drive Pinterest traffic to our blog content. That's going to get them to see our freebie, to get them on our email list. And from there, you can market to them however it is that you want to choose. So why Pinterest? Let's start here. Facebook is dying with organic reach. Does anyone feel that with Facebook, where it's like, oh man, it used to be so easy where you would post and then you get all these leads, and it doesn't work like that anymore. So Pinterest is a way for you to automate your business, so you're working smarter, not harder. You're going to be able to grow your email list. And a study from Millward Brown Digital found that active Pinterest users are 47% more likely to have a significant life event happening in the next 6 months, like buying a home. So it's kind of the perfect place. And this is the most important part. So write this down. Pinterest is a search engine. So if you can understand keywords and how to use them effectively, you're going to dominate. So Pinterest was really the platform that changed my business. When I was first building my business, it was in the fitness space, and I built my Facebook fan page to over 50,000 followers and Instagram to over 20,000, and it worked so well in like 2014. And then the logarithm changed, and I kind of was left scrambling, having to figure something out. So all I did was focused on delivering blog content that was valuable for my ideal client and putting it up on Pinterest. And it wasn't this like elaborate strategy or anything like that. I really didn't know what I was doing. But it started to work, and I started noticing more people coming to my blog, and I was like, where are these people coming from? So I looked at my Google Analytics, and I saw I had over 34,000 people per month coming to my blog from Pinterest for free. But this is what's really crazy. I stopped that business, and I didn't touch it for all of 2018. Like, I didn't upload a new blog, I didn't touch Pinterest, I did nothing. My traffic went up to 41,000 people per month. So I'm still getting leads, still making sales from something I haven't touched in over a year. This is powerful stuff. So using my Pinterest strategy, it's gonna help you automate your business, so you're working smarter, not harder. You're gonna get more traffic to your site. More traffic will help you get more email subscribers, build your email list. You're gonna create content that people are actually searching for, and you're gonna be that go-to expert, and you're gonna have people coming to you instead of having to private message people for sales. And most importantly, the stuff that I've created, it's working for me. And I can make sales while I'm sleeping from stuff that I did years ago. So can you imagine the benefits of using a network where you're getting more visibility and more traction over time? Give me a heck yes. Woo! Let's do it. So what Pinterest is not, it's not a place for bored housewives that are, doing craft stuff and organizational stuff or anything like that. Because I know that's definitely a common misconception. People are saying, well, my audience isn't on Pinterest. So I want you to know every business can gain a captive audience as long as you have the right strategy. I mean, my husband is a guy from West Africa, and I saw him scrolling on Pinterest. So I'm like, everyone is on there. And Pinterest actually shows some of the companies that are crushing it on the platform. So I want you to see how random these companies are. So think about like Pet Plan Insurance or Stainmaster Carpet Care. So if they can get traction on the platform, so can you. Go back. Good? Okay. So another common misconception is I don't have time for another platform. Who here is creating some kind of content? Maybe it's like a Facebook Live, podcast, YouTube. If you're not, you should be, for sure. But you could take that content that you're already creating and repurpose it and put it on Pinterest. So if you're doing like a Facebook Live or a podcast, transcribe it and put that transcription on your blog. So I'm going to teach you my 5-step strategy to 10x profits. And so this is what we're going to be going over. So we're going to attract, optimize, engage, convert, and automate and collaborate. So step 1 is attract. Social media is very, very noisy, and you need to make sure that you stand out by identifying your ideal client and niching down. And so by figuring out who your niche is, this is super important. You can't be all things to all people. You need to get inside that ideal client's head and think, when they're on Pinterest, what are they searching for? So here are just a few examples, like moving to Florida, or best neighborhoods in Jacksonville, top kid activities in Jacksonville, equestrian properties for sale. And so when you're on Pinterest, you'll see the platform looks like this. You start typing, and if I search for equestrian properties, for example, you'll see Pinterest starts to autofill. So this is more specific search terms that people are actually searching for. So equestrian properties for sale is something somebody is actually searching for. So that's a keyword term that you could use on the platform. And so it's really important that you're pinning your content with the right graphics and the right keywords that are going to bring your ideal client to you. And just remember, Pinterest is a search engine. So here's just an example of what I did in my fitness business was intermittent fasting. This was a way for me to niche down instead of just teaching weight loss in general. I found that my ideal client, they wanted to learn about intermittent fasting and eating high-fat, low-carb. So by niching down, I started typing in intermittent fasting. And I saw these are the more specific things that people are searching for. So you want to get specific with those keyword terms. So I used the keyword intermittent fasting for women. And when you can see, my pin is at the top with over 100,000 repins, which is pretty cool. But when you do this right, you're going to show up on Pinterest and you're going to show up on Google. And so you can see me, and I've taught this to some of my clients too that are in the fitness space. I'm like, this is a great keyword. You need to use it. We're going to dominate. And we're kind of taking over the whole top page of Google for this keyword term. So I want to give you just a few examples that you can use in real estate. So let's say I want to move to Florida. I might type in moving to Florida. And you're going to see these are other keyword terms, those tiles at the top. Those are going to be more specific search terms, those keywords that you can use. So moving to Florida tips would be an example, right? Or maybe I want to get a little bit more niche and do luxury homes in Florida. So when I search this term, this is what pops up. And to get more specific, I could do luxury homes in Florida for sale or something like that. And so I did that more specific search term, and you can see what pops up. Do any of these pins here look enticing to you? Not at all. I want you to understand you have a huge opportunity here. What I'm teaching, I hardly see anybody doing it. So like you guys are in the right spot. I'm so excited for you. So it's really important that you optimize your pin description. This is going to be one of the most important things. There's a lot of places you can optimize that I'll talk about, but the pin description, most important thing. So in this pin description, I'm not keyword stuffing. So I'm not just adding a bunch of keywords, because remember, it's humans that are reading these pin descriptions. So it's conversational. And you can see in here, want to learn, and my keyword that I'm using is how to use Pinterest for business. So that's a long tail keyword. It's very specific, several words together. Are you following that? Long tail keyword? Okay. And so in this post, I'll share with you my tips on how to use Pinterest, yada, yada. And then I give an actual call to action. You have to tell people what to do. So I tell them to repin and come check out my free cheat sheet on how to get more leads with Pinterest. And then I use a few hashtags. So here is an example. So I try to find some good people in real estate that are doing this. I found a few. So here's one, the Florida Moving Guide. And so you can see in that description, their keyword is moving to Florida. So they put that in that pin description. And I actually created a few pins that I thought were good because I didn't find that many. So I created these on Canva. Is anyone like a graphic designer? You're really good. I'm not, so I am not. So you can use Canva. It's so easy. If I can figure it out, trust me, you can figure it out too. So I made these on Canva, and you'll see in that work, and you should have it in your goodie bag too. I created a pin checklist of the things you want to make sure you have to create the perfect pin. So this works because it's a 2-to-3 ratio. It's tall and it's like skinny, right? It's not just a square pin. It has a headline on it, so 20 reasons to move to Jacksonville, Florida, it's not just a picture of a listing. So I'm actually creating content and teaching something here. And then I also mentioned my free moving checklist. Another thing that I did here, the font on it, so you want your pins you want to have text on it because it's going to make it actually easier for people to see, to understand what it is, and to click through. Does anyone have Pinterest on your phone? Actually, open up your phone. And open up Pinterest, and I want you to start scrolling, and then stop when a pin catches your eye. When you have a pin that really stands out to you, raise your hand. What is it about that pin? It has text on it? The picture, and it's big and bold? Yeah. Anyone else? What about yours? Not too much text, it's bold. Okay, so you want the font should be easy to read, big and bold, gets people to stop their scroll. So whenever you're creating a pin, think, is this stop the scroll worthy? Think about your ideal client, how they're actually acting on Pinterest. So here's a good example that I found, Wellington, Florida relocation guide. So this is, obviously it's gonna add value to somebody who's looking to move to Wellington, Florida. When I look at it, I can see exactly what this pin is about. Here's another one, and I like this. So instead of just pinning a little square image of your listing, why don't you get a little bit more creative, and we can take several images and put it in that size of a pin that works really well on Pinterest. And so here's another one, what you need to know about the real estate market in Washington State. So think about what niche you're doing, what kind of content you can create, and put that headline on that pin. Here's another one, the best city to move to in Washington. And I really like this one, I love that picture. But 28 things to know about buying equestrian real estate. And when you search on Pinterest, what you're gonna see is you're gonna see pins that show up, you're gonna see boards that show up, and you're gonna see profiles that show up. And so when I searched for Wellington, Florida real estate, I actually found this person. So you could actually use the keyword term that your ideal client might be searching for in your profile. And one of the coolest things that I think all of you should do is optimize your boards and think of it as just a way for you to add massive value and be like a guide for your ideal client and for your local audience. So something that you could do is have a board that's dedicated to all of your listings. You could have a board of customer testimonials. You could have a board of all the homes that you sold. You could have boards that are helpful for your ideal client or somebody in your local audience. So if I was an agent in St. Paul, Minnesota, something that I might do is best restaurants in St. Paul, best neighborhoods in St. Paul, things to do in St. Paul, kid activities in St. Paul. So I'm using the city title in that board title, right? Or the city name in that board title. So when someone's searching for it, it's gonna pop up. You with me? Yeah? Okay. And making sure that we're using those keywords in the board title and the board description. Pretty much everywhere on Pinterest is searchable. So I tried to find somebody that was doing this. I couldn't really find anybody. This was the closest example that I could come up with. It's Bond New York Real Estate. And they're coming up with a few things. So there's New York Eats, I guess, is something they're trying to show you where you can eat in New York. And New York room dining. What else did they have? Just different things to do in New York. The thing that they're not doing well is it's not really keyword friendly. So do you think someone would actually search for New York Eats? Probably not, but maybe they would search best restaurants in New York. All right? So step 3 is to engage by creating killer content. And this is gonna build a relationship with that Pinterest user and turn them into a raving fan. So I'll give you an example of one of my private clients. She found me on Pinterest. She went through all of my content, digested everything. 3 days later, without even really talking to me, we didn't have a phone call or anything, signed up to work with me privately and to attend my live event in Chicago. And that's me just adding value to her and building that relationship without actually having to be there with her. So it's kind of like passively that's happening. So I wanted to give you some examples of content that you could create. So, here's just a bunch of different things. It's gonna depend on what your niche is. So think about who your ideal client is, what they're searching for. But let's say I'm looking to move to Jacksonville, Florida. These might be some things that if I read this, this would really add value to me, right? So 3 things you need to know before you move to Jacksonville, Florida, or moving to Florida, pros and cons. The complete guide to moving to Florida. So you can see here's just a bunch of different ideas in terms of content and blog posts that you could create. And so if I'm looking at an equestrian property, for example, and I like this example because we lived on a horse property. My husband's a horse trainer, so that's why I came up with this. But we might be looking, these are just some things that would really add value to us. Popular places to ride in South Florida, or different stable and horse exercises, or maybe just answering common questions about buying an equestrian property. And you could also have videos that are teaching and training, the sky's the limit here when it comes to content. And one of the things you wanna make sure that you do is have a place on that blog post where you mention a freebie and a place for them to get on your email list. So here's an example of someone who does real estate in San Diego. They said, here's a helpful checklist for equestrian property best practices. So that's just a way that I could learn more from them. They're adding value to me, but they're also getting my name and email. So I want you to think, what are 4 topics that you could cover in depth that's gonna add value to your ideal client? Quickly, brainstorm, write it out. Or at least write it out to do his homework. And so step 4 is gonna be convert. We're using Pinterest. Our whole goal is to build our email list. And so we're using our email list to market our products, services, and all of that. So you wanna make sure you have a free offer on your site where someone can get on your email list. And this is really important. Who here is actively building their email list? Okay, not enough of you. If you're only building on Facebook or Instagram, what if Facebook shut down your account? My mom is here, her Instagram account got hacked. So if you're building on any of those platforms, you don't own them, you don't control them. You do own your email list. So this is really important that you have one and that you're actively building it. And so you wanna think about what's a free offer, something you could give away for exchange of their name and email. So it could be something so simple. It could just be a PDF or a checklist. It could be a video, whatever it is that you wanna do. These are just an example. I've done a free grocery list. I've done Pinterest cheat sheets. I've done videos. I've done challenges. I've done everything. Here is an example of someone in real estate. They have a home buying guide. So they just did something really simple. Are you thinking about buying a home? Here's a guide that you can get for free. Enter your name and email. And then step 5, we're gonna automate it. So you're busy, right? You don't have time for another platform. You can automate this whole thing so you're not spending hours on Pinterest, because I'm too busy for that. I bet you are too, right? So with Tailwind, you can automate this entire process. Tailwind is a Pinterest scheduling tool, which is really cool. You can just decide what pins you wanna pin, when you wanna pin them, put them in the queue, boom, there it goes. Another thing that I love about Tailwind is Tailwind Tribes. So Tailwind Tribes is a way that you can collaborate with other people in your industry, or maybe join a tribe with your potential ideal client there. And that's gonna help you get in front of a lot more people. There's some tribes that I've joined that have helped me reach millions of people, which is really, really cool. All right, so here is a recap of our 5-step strategy. So attract, optimize, engage, convert, and automate, and collaborate. So I want you to take massive action. So I do have a free Pinterest cheat sheet. If you want to grab that, just go to pinwithrachel.com and get started on your pinning strategy to get more leads into your business on autopilot. Thank you so much.